功夫啊，是我腳法啊！你相唔相信我？隨時將你手斬落嚟。
No, please don't.
你手唔屬於我嘅，我中意點就點。
Yes.
Hello, fellow exiles. Welcome to a new episode of PoE 2 Builds. Before we dive in, I would like to give a huge shout out to everyone who subscribed, commented, and watched my debut video. Thank you so much for your support. Today I'm sharing something a bit crazy, a Pathfinder build that can take down tier 4 bosses with bare fist. First, let me just be completely honest with you. This build costs over 40 divines, and I do not recommend it for most players. But if you're curious about what is possible with concoctions after the nerfs, stick around, because the journey has been quite a ride. So what's the deal with unarmed Pathfinders? Well, GGG has nerfed concoction skills very hard with the launch of 0.2. They made going unarmed mandatory for the skills, which creates some serious problems. First, no weapon means no plus levels to projectile skills. That's a massive damage loss compared to 0.1. And we can't use Wind Dancer or any hero skills. Second, all concoction skills now do their own base damage instead of added damage. Basically, the damage scaling and building option got chopped. It feels like GGG wanted concoction to be supplementary skills rather than build-defining ones. But here's the thing, I really wanted to see if we can make it work anyway, so I respect my level 95 Deadeye to Pathfinder and throw my entire budget at this problem. The core concept is simple. We use Shattering Palm for map clearing and Shattering Concoction for single target. I chose Shattering over Poison's Concoction because the Poison one now deals base physical damage instead of added chaos, making it much harder to scale. The build revolves around chaos damage conversion with the original scene, which converts all of our elemental damage into chaos, so we can skip building penetrations and focus entirely on damage scaling. The other ring was Ming's Heart. It provides unmatched chaos damage. For the helmet, we use the deepest tower. This is crucial. Combined with some nodes, we can deal 420% increased damage against enemies within the presence. Without this, the build simply doesn't work. For the gloves, we have Maligaro's Virtuosity. This fixed our critical damage bonus at 300%, so we can focus on stacking critical chance. Since Shattering Concoction has 11% base crit chance, reaching a high crit chance is actually manageable. For Amulet, I have one with plus 3 projectile skill levels and crit chance, and some spirit. Oh, by the way, the attribute requirements are quite tight in this build, so some more attributes will be ideal. As for defenses, I chose to go Evasion with Healy's Aya, basically a conditional acrobatic but without its downside, and a shield with 45% block chance to add another layer of survivability during map clearing, movement speed and resistances on an energy shield boots. I capped resistances primarily with the shield and boots. And the most important item of this build, this melt belt with 2 reduced flask charge usage modifiers. In 0.1, each concoction throw consumes 3 charges from the mana flask. In 0.2, this number was nerfed to 5, meaning in my case, with a normal belt, I can only throw the concoction 25 times with my 125 charge mana flask. Now with this belt, I have 40% reduced charge usage. I can throw the concoction for about 40 times. So it gave me a much higher ceiling for my damage output. You may wonder how the setup will perform with such a low health pool. Well, it's not as bad as it looks. Yes, the effective HP is at about 8k, and the physical max hit we can take is at about 2k. But we got 12k evasion rating with Healy's Aya and 55% block chance. And we are constantly moving and dodging during map clearing. Dying is not that often. I once tried stacking up energy shield to about 4k, but the damage just became miserable. And Pinnacle bosses could still one-shot me anyway, so I just picked the extreme route. For mapping, it's all about the Shattering Palm combo. We dash in, land the palm, dodge out, and let the cold wave plus the poison caltrops do the work. The icy chain explosion will wipe the packs. For tougher enemies, we just add Shattering Concoction throws into the mix. This combo just makes map clearing pretty fast, and we don't need to worry about the unpleasant on-death effect left by mobs, as their corpses just shattered in ice shots. I was able to do delirium maps up to around 40% delirious with ease, but beyond that, the damage will feel pretty lacking. Before we talk about skills and support gen links, let me just quickly go over the passive trees. I'll put a PoE link in the comment section. For ascendancy points, we take Shattering Concoction and 6 extra points. Since we mainly do chaos damage with rings equipped, poison is also an important part of our damage. I've got some chance to poison on hit nodes allocated, which I will show you shortly. Because our skills can apply poison, it's great to take this Contagious Contamination node. It has the same effect as Herald Plague, which we sadly cannot use due to being unarmed, so having this node really helped with clearing. The last 2 points are flexible. I have Relentless Pursuit for maps, so that I am immune to chill and temporal chains. For Pinnacle bosses, I will reallocate these 2 points into Overwhelming Toxicity to boost overall damage. For the trees, most of the travel nodes are intelligence. Starting here, get Blur. Then get this group of low life nodes that synergizes perfectly with our helmet. Get 3 crit chance nodes here for weapon set 1. Our first weapon set is for map clearing and second for bossing. Then back here, get the attack speed and projectile speed as well as evasion and movement speed. In this jewel socket, I have an Against Darkness for extra chaos damage and lightning res. Get stun threshold for weapon set 1 and this poison nodes for weapon set 2. Moving down, have attack damage nodes and speed nodes. Grab these nodes for weapon set 1. Again, our first weapon set was for maps and with a shield. This can help us to reach 55% of block chance. In this drill socket, I have a From Nothing diamond for Unwavering Stance, allowing me to allocate these 3 nodes, which gives us even more increased damage against low life target. Alright, back here going up, I took lots of evasion nodes and some dexterity just to fulfill the attribute requirements, and these nodes for crit chance. Unarmed nodes here. This one AoE nodes is on weapon set 1. I have Way of the Wind and Careful Consideration on a Megalomaniac. Let's continue. Right side of this group on the main tree, but the 3 nodes on the left side goes to weapon set 2. And here, first 2 nodes are on the main tree, but Spectral Word on weapon set 1. In this drill socket, I have a Sapphire with Recover Mana on kill. It is necessary to have at least one of these modifiers in the entire build. Going up, grab this spiral group of Spaghettification to weapon set 2 and a group of Deep Trance to weapon set 1. Get crit chance here and Pure Chaos. Wither Away and Thin Ice are on weapon set 2. In this drill socket, I have an Heroic Tragedy for Orof, which turns this Chaos Inoculation Keystone into a node that changes Intelligent Heron bonus to 1% increased evasion rating per 2 intelligence instead of increased mana. And finally, Endless Blizzard was anointed on my amulet for +1 to all cold skills. Now let's take a look at the skill gems. I put them on the screen so it's easier for you to see. On weapon set 1 we have Shattering Palm, 2 sets of Trial of Caltrops, and Ghost Dance. On Shattering Palm it says it requires a quarterstaff and unarmed, but actually we can use it without a quarterstaff. I linked Magnified Effect and Reach just for expanding the Wave of Ice coverage. No need to worry about the accuracy since palm skills cannot be evaded by mobs. For the Caltrops, I get one with Envenom, a Bursting Plague to fully utilize our Poison Ascendancy, and Corrosion and Armor Explosion just to add a little bit of AoE clearing. Lacerate just here to combo with Hamo Crystals in our set of Caltrops, adding again a little bit of AoE clearing. Shattering Concoction and Hand of Shayula are for both weapon sets. Pinpoint Critical was huge as it provides 60% more crit chance. And the downside of it doesn't matter because we are using the Maligaros. Execute for 50% more damage, and we use Chaos Infusion to boost damage, as now Shattering Concoction deals purely Chaos damage, and because of that, it no longer provides freeze buildup by itself. So in Hand of Shayula, where we put in Freeze Mark and Despair Curse, we also linked Decaying Hex and Chaotic Freeze, so upon using Hand of Shayula on enemies, we are building up freeze on them within the 8-second duration. We use this mainly for bosses. Now for weapon set 2. I have a focus equipped with 100% increased chaos damage. This is slightly better than the Sun Splinter with +3 code skill levels. The set was mainly for bosses. I take down Ghost Dance for Alchemist's Boom. I also have a Withering Presence, but more importantly are these 3 skills. I decided to utilize the Volatility mechanics to boost single target damage. Upon gaining Volatility, it assists on our characters as a debuff that will explode after 4 seconds. Then, deal 100 physical damage to us per stack of Volatility we have. If we survive the explosion, for 10 seconds, we will be granted 1% damage as chaos damage per stack of Volatility exploded. In our case, Volatility stacks are gained through the Volatile Power Support Gen. This gen allows us to have 5 stacks every time we cast the supported skills under the empowered circumstances. I linked this gen to Ember Fusillade and chose Mana Tempest to empower it, so I can gain the maximum stacks of Volatility pretty fast. By this method, we can have up to 200 stacks, which means we gain 200% damage as chaos damage. But remember, the explosion can kill us, so I also brought with me a companion with periodic invulnerability aura, as we have no other options to mitigate this 20,000 physical damage explosion. So every time before a Pinnacle boss fight, I would just have to perform this acrobatic combo to get 10 seconds of damage burst. And it is crucial to coordinate with the companion, as it will only cast the invulnerability aura once it entered combat mode. So just need to get the timing right. It certainly takes a little bit of practice. Speaking of Pinnacle boss fight, the performance of this build just exceeded my expectations. All I need to do was just to swap on a Chocolate Ground boots and throw concoctions. Tier 4 King of the Mist was pretty easy, even with his 50% chaos resistance. He only have about 20 million health in the second phase. He can be taken down pretty fast. Although I have to pay close attention to the positioning, as the ground effect can become very nasty. But in general, he was an easy fight. T4 Zesht was a little bit trickier. In our setup, we can throw the concoction continuously for about 50 times with Alchemist's Boom. In the most ideal scenario, considering all the factors and including damage from poison, we can deal about 37 million damage before the mana flask charges run out. T4 Zesht has about 33 million health, so the margin was pretty narrow. I have to make sure that I land all the scattered throws of concoctions and stand very close to Zesht in order to benefit from the close combat support gen and the deepest tower related damage increase. The effect from Hiri's Aya could buy me some time in the second phase, but it's overall an unforgiving boss fight. It does require a bit of luck. But haven't had much luck with the Arbiter. Tier 3 Arbiter was very easy. The fight went pretty smooth, but I was unable to take down Tier 4 Arbiter before my fragments run out. And considering it causes 6 divines per round, I just stopped challenging him. I assumed my damage was enough to kill him, but landing all the concoctions on him with a close range was just very difficult with all his mechanics. Alright, that's it about this unarmed Pathfinder build. Is this build entertaining? Yes, I do have lots of fun with it. But would I recommend it? Of course no. As you see, it's not a versatile build, and it's on the expensive side. At the time of recording, the build will cost you well beyond 40 divines if you build it from scratch, and it performs worse than almost anything you would build with that budget. If you really want to play Concoction, just use normal weapon on your second weapon set. it's infinitely more comfortable. Right now, Unarmed and Concoction skills feel like a puzzle with 95% of the pieces missing. It's playable, but not quite there yet. I will be happy if GGG adds more support for this Unarmed archetype in future updates. Nonetheless, I do enjoy this bittersweet process of making the build, and hopefully you find this video informative. Thank you again so much for your support, and let me know what you think in the comments. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be making more interesting videos in the coming weeks. Thank you, and see you in the next one.